Naturally, when I notice something like this resurfacing, my mind immediately goes to the good old 20-year trend cycle, which has always been a key part of how fashion evolves. As noted by Vogue in a 2022 article, there's this somewhat made up but eerily accurate rule that fashion trends resurface around 20 years later after their initial run.
Welcome to Fashion Forward. This podcast, as the name suggests, will focus on fashion. Fashion has been a part of every time, be it 100 years ago or 1,000. After the Industrial Revolution, the creation of the machines allowed capitalism to take root. So, as most other things, fashion has become an industry to be profited off of. Because the varieties in fashion no longer remain strictly to specific civilians, we will explore different aspects of fashion. Today with me are my co-hosts.
I'm Kothar.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Mia.
Okay, so in this episode, this little pilot episode, we will be focusing on a phenomenon in fashion termed the cyclical nature of fashion. To be more specific, we will be focusing on the fashion of 20 years ago here in the US and notice if and how it's come back in the US. In future episodes, we'll focus on things such as the fashion industry and its influence on fashion, and or how minorities in the U.S. have interpreted past fashion trends in their own unique ways. And we'll also travel further back into the past and find out how clothing from indigenous American women were rebranded as Southern in modern day. But that's for another day. So guys, tell me what kind of research we've done and how we're going to share it in this first little pilot episode.
Okay, so I focused more on the resurgence of fashion through a lens on school yearbooks. I requested the 2005 yearbook of Arcadia University and the 2005 yearbook. It turns out that they stopped making yearbooks after 2022, so I just got a hold of the most recent one, which was, the 2022. Pretty much, I went through the two yearbooks, scrutinizing literally all of their fashion choices and compared the two. This info can all be found on their website, and I wrote about all the differences, similarities, and resurgences I noticed in our article, The Resurgence of Miss 2000s Fashion.
To kind of go off what Mia was saying on the topic of comparing, I compared and contrasted a lot of the images that we had found of different fashion styles that we have seen like reoccurring in 2025, such as using slideshows. Like on our website, we have the graphics with the little slider showing the style in the 2000s and the now occurring spin on the Y2K style. And as well as looking at the comparing styles, I looked at a lot of comparing and contrasting body images to celebrities. And in this one clip that I found, it was where Gigi Hadid and Jimmy Fallon, they were on the show together, and Jimmy Fallon had her as a guest star. And yeah, he was giving her food because she was never really allowed to eat much. So here's that clip.
Last time we talked about our love of burgers.
Yes.
And we had a hamburger together, a bite of a hamburger.
Yep.
Well, today, now I'm going to give you a bite of my favorite hamburger.
A tradition!
This was now a tradition now that we're doing this. New York called.
This audio clip shows that you never really know what an individual, no matter how much their life is out in the public view, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Like Bella Hadid's mother had her in such a strict diet that people are slowly starting to realize after years of her going on Jimmy Fallon and him providing her with a burger each time so she gets some type of food intake that she wouldn't be allowed to otherwise. Like she wouldn't be allowed, she had an almond mom.
Wow. Yeah, she said, get the almonds if you're hungry, girl. You're not
and
eating.
to add on to Jaden about body issues, as the YouTuber Normal Girl Makes Clothes said in her YouTube video, a deep dive into past 10 years of trends and fashion.
Sometimes fashion history repeating itself can be amazing. It can bring fun trends and even better style. And sometimes it's detrimental to society.
The return of specific trends isn't always the best thing. And along with this online research, I also went out and interviewed a person I low-key mistakenly thought was a millennial. But despite her being a part of Gen X and not having taken part in the mid-2000s fashion, I got some thoughtful insight and an interesting perspective on everything.
I did a bit of research myself, well, yes, and I actually interviewed somebody that had recently turned 18 at the time of 2005, and I got a lot of photos of her. Some of them are going to be on our website after our interview. And now let's go into a little segment of the interview with Marie Taylor. All right, this is MJ, and I am interviewing Marie Taylor, and I have a few questions to ask you. What media were you consuming in 2005?
That's a great question. I was going through my old journals from that time, and I picked out some pop culture that I was, consuming and interested in. We were watching a lot of The Real World.
The Real World? What is that? It was on TLC?
Oh.
There was no TLC in 2005?
Oh, The Real World. What is that?
The
It's
Real
the first
World?
reality TV show that
It wasn't Jersey
started
Shore?
in the 80s, and it was a group of 7 strangers picked to live in a house.
Oh, Big Brother.
To live together and have their lives taped. Find out what happens when people stop being polite and they start getting real. The Real World, Austin.
You watched it religiously?
Oh, we all did.
Oh.
Everybody did. The Real World were the 20-year-olds and like 19-year-olds who were getting pulled out of college to go to reality TV, live together, and it was diverse groups of people.
Wow.
And it was people a little bit older than us, so we'd come to school and talk about them like they were our friends.
Right. Yeah. You know what? Hey.
We looked up to them.
Did they dress nice?
They dressed nice. Yeah.
Really?
Some of them did. Yeah, they had a really diverse range of styles.
Okay.
A lot of times they'd bring in, somebody from down south, and he would wear cowboy boots and have a
For some
cowboy
diversity.
hat. Sometimes they'd bring in somebody from the inner city who had his own sort of style. They'd bring in somebody who never left her Mormon community in her entire life.
Oh.
We were trying to get the fights
Wow.
and love.
Oh, wow.
And they got it.
And they got it indeed.
It went for years and years and years. There's so many different seasons and casts and everything. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I need to watch that.
We were
I'm gonna
friends
look
with
up
them. We knew, in our
Parasocialism.
minds, parasocialism has been going on for a long time. But we actually did meet them because a lot of them would come to colleges.
Are
on a
you
college
serious?
tour.
Was it that serious?
Yeah. Like when my first year in college, they came to, like, a couple of the cast members came and partied with us. Yeah,
That's
they come, they
crazy.
give their little spiel, and then they hang out.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And that was their career.
That was
it.
They're doing stuff now. They're on reality TV shows now, a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
One of them is a judge somewhere. One of them is a politician somewhere.
Oh, wow.
They're all doing stuff.
What else? What other media?
I have, all of the music that was name dropped in my 2005 journal. 50 Cent, Ludacris, Panic at the Disco. The Red Light District was the Ludacris album of like the most current album of that year. He also came out with something Ludacrismas, which was his Christmas album. And that was like a seminal. That and Jay-Z's Black Album was seminal for high school. Then I wrote down Cameron. I don't know if you even know Cameron. Nope. The Animal Collective, Eminem, The Game, The Emancipation of Mimi, Miss Mariah Carey came back with a new, attitude and a new visual. We had a show called Robot Chicken. It was on
I know Robot Chicken. Yeah, I know that one.
So I think that there's a lot of shows that kind of are following in that. Let's see. Eminem was huge, and people thought like rap lyrics were making us violent. All right, we had AIM, so we go online when we get home from school where our computer is. You go on the internet, you talk to people in that specific period of time, and then you log off, and then your brother gets to go on and use, because you have to take turns on the computer. So we were doing a lot of that. Napoleon Dynamite was huge. The Notebook was huge. Dashboard Confessional. We would go to all of these, like Yellow Card just came out. There was this big sort of like indie pop kind of like wave, emo kind of wave that came out around that time, which was like the Yellow Card and everybody who followed in with them. And then I have Friday Night Lights. Was that a movie or a show?
I think it's a movie.
And so you said other content I was consuming.
Yeah.
Project Runway.
Project Runway did come out that early.
VH1 reality shows, things like
Next American's
Flava Flav. All of his love shows.
Flavor Flav's the one with the big clock that his neck.
All of his.
Oh
then there's like 10 offshoots of the
Mm-hmm.
Flavor Flav show, and then it was all reality TV was pretty new and pretty like hype.
Oh, really?
And a lot of The Simple Life, Paris, Nicole, my queens.
My queens.
The
Shayla's.
women I look up to in my life now. I have the places I shopped, all the stores I went to.
Which stores? Did you ever go to Justice? Was Justice around that back then?
Justice was not around. We had Limited 2.
Limited 2.
So the store for adults was Limited, and Limited 2 was Limited TOO, and that was where you would get your clothes if you were like middle school range.
Okay.
And then when you get a little bit older, you'd go to Hollister, American Eagle, Abercrombie.
Abercrombie used to have so much good stuff too. Like now they're kind of buns.
I kind of like the buns now.
I'm need to check again, and their prices went up like crazy, especially Hollister. Do you think that the media that you watched influenced the way you dressed in 2005?
Oh yes. Oh, 100%. I
How?
can tell you so much about that. Well, for example, begged my parents for about 5 years to get my belly button pierced so I could be just like Britney Spears. It was like a event in our lives of just like every day, but Britney has it. But what? You're not Britney.
But I want to
am Britney. Like, it was just like a fight, you know?
Oh, yes.
And so I was really inspired by her belly rings, her low jeans, her high tops. Every single time she had a new hairstyle, I would do that hairstyle. That would then be my hairstyle.
Oh, you were Britney.
I think I was.
Yeah. Mia and Jaden wanted to add.
Generally, the main reason that I have my belly pierced now is because I thought it looked cute with the low-rise jeans. The influence is definitely strong after so many years.
I also had thought about what she said. This is kind of funny because I wanted to be Britney Spears for Halloween literally this year because I just loved performing outfits. So I just I loved her.
That's amazing. I know you just left college too. Did you have like a difference in like what you wear to go like out and have fun, nice, and then compared to what you do when you started? When did you start teaching?
2005 was when I graduated high school and started college. So it was my last days of high school, my summer before college, and then it was my first semester in the fall.
Did you have like a jump from when you were in high school to college?
No, I wasn't really. I kind of like, I felt like I went with the flow with my fashion, and I kind of went in and out of like different stages. But by the time I was a senior in high school and I was leaving, I felt pretty confident in my style. I did have a personal style at that point.
What was it?
It was probably it was different from what other people were wearing. I was doing a little bit more of like, I was kind of taking from like alternative things I was seeing at shows where we called them shows, and it was where local bands came and played, and this is where you would go dress up in your alternate clothes and you would like, you know, vibe to that music. But anyway, I had like an eclectic mix of like the low jeans with Britney, but like also maybe like a button down like this. Like I would wear this, low jeans. I would wear these like moccasins.
What are moccasins?
Like slippers.
Oh, okay.
But I loved them and I wore them, and just like I had a kind of eclectic style. Yeah, I think I just pulled together whatever I liked.
Were your friends wearing the same thing, or would they wear different things at the time?
Oh, that's a good question. I also had an eclectic group of friends. Like one of my friends was
Your life was very eclectic.
yeah, like the head cheerleader, like they dressed a certain way, and then like my other friend was really artsy. Okay, yeah, so cheerleaders would a lot of times wear their cheer gear to school to signify.
Is this like Glee? Was it like Glee?
I mean, if Glee does that,
you never seen Glee?
Yes.
You never seen Glee?
They wear their uniforms to school?
Yes, they wear it in the halls. They will.
Yes.
Well, you never seen Glee?
No.
Wow, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What about Bring It? Have you seen the Bring It franchise?
Bring It On?
Yeah.
I know Bring It On. That's all. That came out around my era.
Yeah. Like how they would wear their
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
because this is what we're watching. That was the media we were consuming at this time.
Okay.
That was what told us it was okay to wear your all of your uniforms into school, or your jersey into school. Yeah.
Oh,
that was the vibe.
Jaden wanted to add.
I think it's interesting how she mentioned wearing cheer uniforms to school, like how they did in movies. When I was in high school, we also really wanted to wear our cheer uniforms in school if we had a game that night, just because we thought it was like the coolest thing ever to be like, oh, we're on the cheer team. Yay. So yeah.
How did you see weight being a part of that during the time?
Oh, that's a really good question. It's something that I think a lot about because I'm writing about weight right now.
Really? Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
You know I remember, yes.
And it's something that's been on my mind a lot.
Because I feel like when we go back in time and we're looking at the fashion, just like everything has a cyclical nature, they're intertwined. Like you can't have one without the other. So whatever trend back then that was popular at the time, it comes with all its good and its bad. Like especially in 2005, like the 2000s, like type of culture, aesthetic, whatnot. That was like the rise of eating disorders, like all-time high.
And I know it, and I can speak to why. I mean, there were so much messaging at that time.
Like what type of messaging?
Messaging from every outlet saying that it was okay and expected
Really?
for girls to act and behave and live a certain way. I think that those times were dark for women.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Brother. They would be like ads and stuff like that. Because I know, like, I'm trying to remember. I know it was like the era where, like, especially with low-rise jeans, your stomach be out. And I know they started critiquing that.
That's
and
not
it was
an
like
accessible
it
look to
wasn't
everybody. Yeah.
It wasn't the time of woke. Like, they'd be calling people fat ass and whatnot.
Oh,
like,
I mean, it was brutal back then. I'm telling you that the like the commentary on the body during the early 2000s, especially for young girls, is probably like the lowest that it has gone. It was from, I mean, our TV shows, our reality shows. It was all of our celebrities. It's of course. I mean, they're only allowing like people with certain body types on certain shows, and
so
when they insert somebody with a different body type, that becomes the focus of the real world that season.
The odd one out, like
and it was very much like the Abercrombie and Hollister said, we do not want fat people wearing our clothes.
Are you serious?
In multiple articles.
Oh my god!
They're coming out and they're saying that we don't want. They didn't want anybody of color wearing their clothes. They say things. They put out public statements. There was nothing bigger than a size large. And a size large is what, you never
medium,
you never know.
Yeah.
And it was a really hard time. And I remember a lot of like disordered eating, a lot of support from society, communities, parents, families for disordered eating, because it was so ingrained that like it's not okay to look a different way.
Oh my god. Like the conformity was at an all-time high. They wanted everybody to be the same.
There was so much targeted media to young women at that time, telling you essentially you're worthless.
Oh my days?
Yeah. I mean, it was rough, like brutal stuff. Yeah. And those were also days, like you said, pre-woke, where like people are just mean.
Honestly, I feel like now I could have the expertise and I guess the knowledge to speak on it, but back in the day, maybe not. Fashion is supposed to be inclusive. Fashion is supposed to be creative. How are you being creative if you're just sticking to the same figure over and over and over?
That was not the narrative back then. It was not made for everyone, and you ridiculed if you thought that it was.
Kuther wanted to add,
it just really shocks me, honestly. It was such a hard time to be a woman because of the constant critiques on their bodies and the constant comments of what their bodies should look like. It was so mentally draining and exhausting. No wonder so many women ended up falling into the different mental issues that affected their physical health.
Are there any like styles that you saw really popular in 2005 that you're seeing come up back now and you're like, oh, okay?
So many.
Which ones?
Oh
Name
my
a few.
gosh.
How do you feel about the leggings? The flare leggings? That's flare leggings, flare pants and whatnot.
Oh, right. Okay. I like the flares. The flares were big in the 90s because the 90s was a resurgence of the 70s. So as is
everything, the cyclical nature.
Like the 90s into the early 2000s, we were taking a lot from like, we had the bell-bottom jeans, the low waist. There's like kind of a boho thing going on a little bit. I know that like the jean trends is something that like throughout my life has been kind of hard to,
Are there any styles that you see coming back now and you're like, oh, I don't like that?
The mullets.
I feel like
it's the only thing that I'm seeing or if anybody starts doing a rat tail, I'm out.
Very interesting. I did not like it, but
I like that more
than the
people are taking more risks. I like that we have a wider range of what is fashion. I like that we have an acknowledgement that there are many bodies who enjoy fashion and who should get to wear fashion.
Well, yes. Jaden and Kuther wanted to add.
This is so true. I see myself having multiple pairs of flared leggings and a pair of like flared jeans as well, which can also be like bootcut jeans also. I also know that mullets are really big in certain sports, specifically such as baseball. A lot of the individuals on the team already have mullets, or it's like a whole trend that the team does for like that year or whatever, just because they think it's like funny and cute.
I hope it don't come back. They're ugly. I think they're fugly.
Actually, my sister has also been talking about getting one of those Juicy Couture tracksuits that are so Y2K coded. Like, she's begging for one. And even recently in Arcadia University's cafe, we all saw that girl sporting that exact tracksuit in pink.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed we did.
Real nice, real velour.
And,
Urban Planet.
Yeah, it was at Urban
Planet.
Planet.
There was an entire wall of those tracksuits. You can see that on our website too.
Check
We're
it out.
literally seeing those styles like re-emerge live.
All right, do you have any other comments or anything about fashion that you'd like to share?
I
Fashion forward?
had so much fun talking with you, MJ. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to dig out all of these priceless possessions. Revisit my memories from a very, very interesting time in everyone's life. And I think back to where I was in 2005, which is where all of my students are right now coming in, and I think, wow, I would you would have to pay me $1 billion to go back and sit in this classroom right now and do what you're doing right now. Oh my gosh.
You don't like it? Was it that bad? Oh, brother. This is MJ signing out of FASHiONFRWD. Thank you so much.
I also held an interview with Chris Mullen, a media and communications professor at Arcadia University, and here are some of the questions I asked her. Y2K, it has a lot of low-cut jeans, the low-waisted jeans, mini skirts, really small shirts, things like that. What statements or like what messages do you feel like that kind of fashion and style was giving?
I think the easy answer is to say that it was like, I think it was seen as scandalous by older people at that time, but I also, again, think it was like an expression and was also a reflection of the times and the music. I think probably because I teach this and I'm talking about music right now in one of my classes, but it was such a pivot from like the 90s grunge and that's when I was in college and like I was more wearing like flannel shirts and jeans and things like that, and it was just a complete 180, much more feminine. I think it was a reflection and if I'm thinking about it, I think it was just like a complete 180 from what was happening prior to that, and people were kind of sick of that like grungy kind of stuff that was happening in the 90s.
Do you wish you could have participated in this?
I wouldn't say
era?
I don't know. I was much more comfortable covering up and wearing bigger clothes and flannels and things like that. I was never one to embrace that kind of style. Still not.
I've been finding, like, while immersing myself in this Y2K resurgence these days, I've been finding millennials on social media, TikTok, Instagram, like, making videos and claiming that if they, like, this resurgence would be the worst thing that could happen to Gen Z.
Really?
Yeah, saying that during that time, in fact, thinness was idolized, and to bring that back would be to bring also the multiple issues that occurred during that time. I mean, these issues never went away, but they claim that these issues will definitely become worse. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't disagree or agree necessarily. Look, I think that, I think everything has an effect on how we perceive the world, and that constant image certainly does that too. But I do think there are other influences that come into play, so that not every single person who is just immersed in this is going to feel like they are less than because of what they see around them all the time. I mean, we're all human. I do it today. Even just looking at certain images and wish I looked a little bit different here or there. But I can see why they would say that, and I agree to an extent, but I do think that we have to have some balance. It's not everybody's going to be affected in that way.
Mia wanted to add,
in our research, we learned a lot about how individuals from the 2000s are worried about the Y2K comebacks, specifically related to the eating disorders and body dysmorphia that occurred, and it is making a comeback now in 2025.
My final question for you would be, so you weren't really into the Y2K era, but let's say whatever era you were in, do you see the style that you had back then influence you now, influence your fashion now?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, I think so because, you know, I grew up primarily in the 80s and 90s. And so I think if you look at the 80s was ridiculous with like the shoulder pads and just big clothing and all that kind of thing. And that's when I was pretty young. But in the 90s, it was more, like I said, just jeans, bigger clothing, flannels, that kind of thing. And I still gravitate towards that today. I don't really wear form-fitting clothes. I hate form-fitting clothes, if I'm being honest. I like things very baggy for the most part. And so I do think that that had an influence, yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So after a bit of reflection on fashion in the year 2005 and 2025, we have some interesting realizations that we came to. Kuther, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So we ventured into this project with the pursuit of noticing how aspects of fashion in 2005 are reappearing in fashion today. And in this enterprise, we really have come to learn about fashion in 2005 with so much depth. We read about the beauties of recurring fashion and about the uglies of what its return may mean. For me personally, from all that we've researched and learned, my mind really got stuck on the body issues that skyrocketed into the 2000s and mid-2000s. The fashion of those years is very carefree and even rebellious towards the norms that the previous generation had created. But because people had low-key interpreted carefreeness and rebellion as near stripping, and the runways and celebrities were promoting that very fashion choice, women found themselves in a pool of magazines constantly telling them that they're too fat, that they need to try the new fad diet. Celebrities were telling them that nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, which was literally said by the supermodel Kate Moss. And the trendy clothing literally urging them to reveal their bodies. And even research conducted within the National Library of Medicine show that hospitalizations for eating disorders increased tremendously from 1999 to 2006. And 50% of those hospitalizations were patients 12 through 30 years old, and all the eating disorder hospitalizations, from all of those hospitalizations, 89% were females. And even looking at that engram that we have implemented in our website of the word skinny, its usage skyrocketed in the early 2000s, and it hit its peak in 2017. And although it did start to decrease a bit, the line started going up again, which kind of makes me imagine the resurgence of that fashion and its correlation with skinniness and such.
It is so interesting to see how like weight and fashion come hand in hand, especially in 2005. Like, I didn't realize it until we started looking more into it, but like, it was mean. They were mean, like some rude gals.
Extremely.
All right, Jaden, do you have anything that you wanted to say?
After having learned so much about all the different reoccurring fashion trends from the 2000s, I feel as though something that really stood out to me was that fashion tends to resurge every 20 years. And in the video we had mentioned earlier in the podcast, like, did 2005 predict 2025? The quote from Vogue that we had clipped, it really, like, I didn't think about how, like, the time span, like, differs. Like, I didn't think that, like, just because, every 20 years something comes back. Like, it was just kind of crazy to think about. And then, like, there were some trends that I didn't even know were from 2005 that I currently wear. So doing this project, like, really helped to, like, know where my style kind of came from. And, like, things such as, like, flared leggings, I knew were kind of an older thing because of my mom. Like, when I would go shopping with her for flared leggings, she was like, oh, these were, like, a really big deal when I was in high school. And I'm like, when were you in high school? She was like, 1994 I graduated. And I'm like, oh, so that was 10 years before 2005. So I'm like, it's a little crazy because that's only 10 years. So who really knows?
Who really knows?
Yeah, but I think it's crazy, like, because I didn't even notice that, like, we put our own twists on things too. So, like, certain colors that I wanted in the flared leggings, my mom's like, oh, we only had, like, plain black or, like, brown, maybe gray. Like, yeah, I don't know why you want blue. Like, what are you talking about? And then the flared jeans too. Like, she was like, now there's flared jeans. Like, those are bootcut jeans, girl. Those aren't flared jeans, you know. So yeah, that was really interesting.
I like it a lot. Mia, do you have anything that you needed to say?
Yes, not really knowing much about, like, 2000s fashion, 2005, considering, yes, it was 20 years ago. I did notice that, like, throughout the years, like doing my research, it definitely has like an uprise again. Just searching the 2005 fashion trends, looking at magazines, there was a lot of, it was just like more of a bright aura. Like it just had a aesthetic of its own, and I feel like now people do bring it back, but it hits the same, but then again it doesn't. It's just like people add their own little twists and stuff to those fashion trends, and just seeing it evolving and just seeing it has like an aesthetic of its own in today's time. I feel like people just bring it back, and just seeing it evolve and people bringing their own twist to it and stuff like that, just seeing it resurface, it definitely makes a statement in like fashion.
Indeed it does. Like again with the whole flared leggings thing, like I'm really stuck on this because like even going back to what my mom was saying, like she didn't even notice like the waistband of like airy leggings specifically, like they're crossed in the front. Like you can get it without the cross, but like with the cross, that's like a big thing.
You know, it's more popular.
Yeah, it is indeed. And my mom's like, what even is that? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just cute. Like it's just cute.
I'm actually wearing the pullover
leggings from
leggings now from Garage. Yeah,
Wow.
It's
So
definitely coming back, but yeah, people do wear these a lot. Like the pullover, it was very trending back then.
Yeah, I agree. That was gonna be one of the things that I had learned. Like fashion does have a cyclical course, yes, but like they never come back exactly the same. Like it comes back molded to that time that it comes back. Like there's a big difference between 2005 Y2K and 2025 Y2K. Overall, it looks the same, but when you really deep into it, it's the small things, like what type of fabric was used, what small design was changed. It was really interesting. Like, and going off of what Kother had said, another thing that was really like jarring to me was how intertwined the relationship was between body and image. It was so bad. When I was talking to Marie, it was like the way she described it was the age of pre-woke. Like people saw no problem talking about people's weight for no reason, especially girls and like young women that were smacking the face of the media every single day. It was mass hallucination / psychosis. It was so odd. I'm very happy we are in the age of woke. Thank you guys for listening. This was Fashion Forward's pilot episode. I am with
Kother,
Jaden,
Mia.
and we will be back next time for episode 2. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, you're comfy. Look at this face. Wait, what am I? What you call me? Is that no? Stop. Wait, say what it is. Wait, say what. Do you not know what that word is? Oh my God, did I step a line? No, you didn't step a line. I just don't know what that word is. Really? It's like you ate that. Like you look comfy. Oh, thank you. No, that's good. Is that not a derogatory term? No.